Hey guys, welcome to TST Garage. I'm Bart, and in this episode I have a beautiful new Suzuki GSX-8R in the shop with me. In this video we'll be discussing TST Industries LED front signals that fit with this bike. As you can see, I have a whole mess of equipment in front of me. Some of these parts are just the signal lamps, and then we also have separate systems that go with the lamps, and I will tell you all about how these things couple up together so that you are empowered to make the right choices when you're shopping for the correct parts for your taste. All right, let's get started. The OEM Suzuki Signal looks like this. It is slightly long for most people's tastes, but in today's world, this is a pretty nice looking design compared to some other OEM equipment that we've seen. So pretty nice, kudos to Suzuki, but you know, for the customizers out there, we always offer some nice additions to the bike. You may want to change it, you may want to customize it, go with a sequential pattern of signaling, whatever it is, we got your back. Now, we have many different types of signals from mild to wild. We also have flush mount signals. We do offer these signals, they do appear in Suzuki categories. However, the bodywork here presents a recessed area for mounting, so I do not recommend using these. We do have them, but I will not go over the installation of these if you choose to do so. They're pretty simple, but you're on your own there. We have our Echo signals. These are constructed of CNC machined aluminum. They do feature very nice black anodized body with a color accent ring. Should you choose to further customize this package, it is available with several different colors of anodized ring. You could change the ring, make it match the color of your bike. The red here looks pretty nice. And we also have inscribed these signals with really nice iconography, laser etched onto the body here. They're pretty small form factor, but they do feature a very high power LED that fires through a sophisticated lens that blows out the single LED light source into a broad cone of light, giving you a very nice signaling light appearance. Next, we have the BL6 signal. This signal is a very slim form of a signal. It's slightly longer than, say, this one. It features 6 LEDs on board. It is available in a standard signaling version where signals fire on and off, or we also have the sequential pattern signaling version that starts inboard and scans outboard. With each signal pulse, it'll look like a scan outboard. That's a very nice touch. We like it here. Choice is yours, but the external view will basically look like this. Now, these are single circuit signals. That means you only have signaling within them. We do offer running light version of signals like this Quadrix here and also our Mech Evo. These, however, require wiring in an additional circuit via our running light connection kit. We also have a separate video covering the installation of that component on this bike. All the steps are broken down for you and enable you to get your installation done with ease. These guys here connect plug and play via our harness converters, terminate in bullet connectors on one end, and same OEM style connector as the OEM equipment on the other end, plug and play, good to go. Now, when you move away from using the OEM signals on a bike and replace them with aftermarket LED signals, especially when you go for different signals in the front and rear, you will be drawing much less current than the OEM system does, and your OEM flasher relay may get tripped up. I know for a fact on the S version of this bike and this bike, the R version, when you change the front and rear, you get one blink and then it doesn't blink anymore. So to restore the 85 cycle per minute rate, we do offer an LED flasher relay. This is our Gen 2 model. We also have a separate video covering the installation of that component on this bike. All the steps are broken down for you and enable you to get your installation done with ease. Now, we've talked about electrical assembly. We've talked about what happens with signaling rate. One thing I have to cover is how to mount these things before we actually get on the bike. So, for all the simple standard signals like you see here and any other form of stock or pod signal, we do offer a pod signal mounting kit. that comes with 2 plates and 2 washers. I will demonstrate how to use that in conjunction with these components on the bike. We actually do have front signal bundles that are created for each specific bike. On this bike in our product page, you will notice that we do have a front signal bundle that includes connectors, mounting, and then the lamp of your choice. This will simplify your shopping experience and get you the parts that you need in one simple step. Now, I'm really chomping at the bit to show you guys how to install these things. It's very simple. This bike makes it very, very simple. It's the simplest bike I've ever worked on, I think. We do not need to take any panels off. But before I do that, I just want to introduce one kit that we will be launching soon. It's our Pod Signal base kit. We will not be showing how to install that here, but I do want to introduce it to pique your interest. These are just bases that fit on the pod stocks of our signals or any 8mm stock signal out there. So if you want to buy a different company's, say Rizoma's equipment, and you put these on, they are a very nice accent, and we will have them available in several different colors. So check out tstindustries.com. That's where you'll find this product. In this particular video, we will focus only on installing the Quadrix signal. This has some nuances that I wanted to break away from all the other signals that we offer and show you guys in detail how to install just this particular unit. In the first step, we will be removing the OEM signals off the bike. We actually do not need to remove any of the fairings for that removal. We just took the opposite side than we're presenting on. We took that off because we wanted to show you guys what's happening on the inside and also have a view into the inside of the bike so we could document to you exactly what it's going to look like when you reach your hands in there. Now again, I'm going to reiterate that fairing removal is not necessary. You have access by hand to the connector area, which is right there. I just touched it. And then you have access to this 10mm nut, which you will be loosening and then taking off by hand. And this is all made very simple by Suzuki. So thanks, Suzuki. So we have the focal point of the camera here centered on the actual connector within its routing clip in the fairing. We're going to put our finger underneath the connector and pry it up. That just pops it out. There's another routing clip here. Now the wiring is free. This is a JST mini connector. It does have a little tab here. You press that in and that unlocks the connection. Just comes apart like that. Then we need to find this 10mm nut here. And I'm going to loosen that nut. Once the nut is loose, you can just use your hand to spin it off. And then you just need to grab the signal from the outside so it doesn't just drop off, and also make sure to remove that shoulder washer. And then we have our whole assembly coming off the bike, no sweat. So we have the left signal already removed. We also took out the shoulder washer and also the nut that holds this assembly on. That part's complete. The right side of the bike now needs to be removed, and then we'll get into the installation of the TST Industries parts. All right, for the physical installation of our Quadrix signals, we are gonna grab one of the signal lamps and also half of the plate kit that is used for mounting on this bike. Technically, you could achieve mounting in the forward hole without it, but then we have one open hole that looks kind of weird here and incomplete, so this is why we encourage buying one of these sets of hardware. Now we could either position it this way, where it looks tabbed forward on the rear hole, or on the forward hole tabbed backwards. I tend to like it a little bit on the rear hole better, so that's how I'm gonna mount it. There is an unfinished surface with text on it that interfaces the bike, and the smooth surface goes to the outside, and then the washer that comes with this kit will go on the inside of this connection and help us fasten that properly. Let's grab the nut and washer off of the signal. Now we have to get all of these connectors through one at a time. plate, get the connectors through it, forward it to the stud area, get my connectors through here, make sure they're coming out on the other side and under the bike. And now I'm going to work blind here. So I'm just going to grab the large washer from the plate kit, get it onto my wiring, forward that onto the stud. In the general area there, and then continue with the metal washer and the nut. Now again, remember the nut has to go on one bullet connector at a time. And now we can forward this hardware onto the stud. And like I mentioned, I'm working blind here, getting my nut situated, grabbing the thread in there. It down by hand enough so that I have some friction, and then I could manipulate my signal so that I get the emission surface perpendicular to the ground, and then I get my plate against the bodywork here in a way that looks natural and not off angle. All right, that looks really good. I'm going to attempt to tighten this down a little bit more by hand. Now I've grabbed the 13mm open-ended wrench and I'm going to tighten down on this connection. Now it's very important to understand how this connection works. We have a threaded stud that is overmolded by a rubber piece. We want to make sure that this connection is immobilized. So we need to preload that rubber with enough turns on the threads so that we create friction. We don't want to overstress that connection. If you do overstress it, if you turn it too many times, it'll start bulging out and it may rip out the stud. So once you achieve enough friction so that actual mechanical manipulation by hand doesn't produce any movement, that's it. Now we're going to go on to the wiring portion. First, let's consider our standard connection where we just have a single circuit, which means you have signaling from the signal lamp, but you do not have a running light. For this purpose, we'll be using our harness converter. This is color-coded yellow for positive, black for negative. Here on the signal side, the red is actually negative and the brown is positive signaling. So we're going to go red from the signal to black, and then brown from the signal to yellow. Then we're going to engage the insulator caps against each other. And I never trust these things 100%. They are technically supposed to work, but I've seen these slide off from riding vibration. So what I like to do to mitigate the risk of a short circuit is grab some harness or electrical tape and just tape over the connection where one part goes into the other. And that usually keeps them in place for me, and then I'll move around. And that way, no electrical conductors will be exposed, will prevent a short circuit that can possibly take out a fuse and take out your signaling equipment for the duration of that ride. So now we have signal to OEM connection here. Grab the OEM side of the harness. We have that connector right here. Plug it right in. Good to go. Let's power up the bike and test the equipment. All right, as you can see, we have proper signaling. Now, this bike is equipped with our TST Industries Gen 2 flasher relay. Anytime you go away from using an OEM signal to an LED style aftermarket signal, chances are you'll have a symptom where it'll flash very fast and beyond the rate that a sequential signal can handle. In the case of this signal, you would not see the complete sequence pass through. So please, if you do not already have an LED flasher relay, consider getting one. That is a plug and play component. We do have a separate video showing you how to install that on the bike, and it'll get your flash rate right, front and rear, left and right. All right, at this point, we've taken care of standard signaling, but you still do not see a running light function on this. When I power up the bike and shut off the signals, nothing illuminates. So if you are pursuing a running light function from your signals, you will need to connect this blue wire to a 12-volt power source that is fused and switched, which means it goes through a fuse. In case you have a short circuit, it'll blow the fuse, and it's switched in that it's not connected to the battery the whole time. The ignition will turn it on and off. So at this point, we're going to stop here, and I'm going to show you where to access the appropriate connector to get this tapped into, and I'll show you how to use our running light connection kit in conjunction with this equipment to make your connection and have a running light from these signals. Our switched and fused power source that I talked about is right about here above this area, so it'll be necessary to remove this shroud from under the headlight. And to do that, we will be pulling a bunch of these push fasteners. Let's start by pressing their centers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I missed one. Okay, now we have all of them unlocked. We'll pry them out. Once all of those are out, we'll need to deform this part away from its locking location, push it back, and that will tab out from these areas here. Once all those tabs are clear, it'll swing down. If your signal lamp connections are still in their routing clips, that'll still bind the part here. So I will unclip them, and now we'll need to access the actual wire that we need to tap into, and that's right up here. At this point, we will identify the wire pair we are interested in. Here we have a gray and a black with white trace wire going into a white JST connector. Same type of connector as for the signals. This is for the running light. It is fused, it is switched. So this is a perfect one. I'm going to disconnect it from the bike, which is a little difficult from this vantage point, but still doable. And once I get that out, I'm just working it down below the bike. There we go. So here we have a black wire with a white trace, that is the ground, and then we have the gray wire, which is the positive 12 fused and switched. This is where we will be making the connection. So this is the connector that we disconnected from the running light circuit up there. As you can see, I have cut away at the wire shielding here already. This was in the R&D phase, so I have no more extra length here to show. On your bike, it'll most likely span the length of this wire, and you will need to snip away at it. I typically use small snips like this, cut it in half, and then snip away, and that way you have plenty of length to work with. Now here you have this wire pair. You have a black with white trace, that is your ground. We will not be interested in this particular wire for this job. The gray one here is the positive 12 volt switched and fused, so that is what we will be working with. Our running light connection kit comes with 2 of these. I typically just use one. If you feel comfortable using 2 instead, that's cool. What we need to do here is basically take this wire, run one of the bullet connectors to one side, have enough length to go to this wire here, connect that in, and then snip the other part off and size it appropriately so that we do the same thing but mirror image. I typically just connect 2 of these wires into one posi tap, so that's how I will show it, but you can do it any which way you choose within the parameters set here. The longer portion of the posi tap will unscrew from the larger diameter cap. Larger diameter cap has a slit through it. the slit will fit over the wire we are tapping into. Once you bottom that out, you grab the other side that you just unscrewed. It does have a little tapping element. It is a piercing geometry, has a little needle point. When you screw this on, when you thread this on, it will tighten down and pierce through the insulation of that wire and make your connection. Now, once this is bottomed out, we're good to go here. We're going to take the smaller diameter cap and unscrew it. And this is where our tapping connection will go into. Now, we'll need to size this wire. This is one length of wire that we are supposed to run to the connector and then to the signal connector and back to this connector. Choose the appropriate size of the wire, snip it off. I typically just, for the length choice, I try to make the connector go to this hole here, and that is very close to where the signal connects. So now I have this appropriate length of wire here, and that one's good to go. I'm going to rest it here for myself. Now this side, I'm going to route it up along here, and I have a little excess, so I'm going to snip that off. I'm going to grab a stripping tool and get about 5 millimeters stripped off this wire and also the other side wire. On the left side of the bike, we don't need to go through any geometry, but here I'd like to route this wire in a way that is self-captive within the bike. So there is a headlight and front fairing bracket here that has a hole through it. I'm just going to run it up above the harness and up through that hole, make it come out on this side. Then I'm going to twist these wires together in a very, very tight and neat twist. And now I'm going to bring the smaller diameter cap from the posi tap that we just took off and get that over the wire. The idea is that just a tiny little bit of wire should be protruding from the threaded side of this cap. And now I will thread that onto the other component that's already tapped into the bike. And once the thread starts, I'm going to apply pressure on the wires so that they go as far in and deep as possible while I turn this connection until it bottoms out and it feels like it can't go anymore. And then we have to satisfy the two following conditions. We do a tug test and none of the wires pull out, and then also inspect and make sure there is no conductor showing. If there is a conductor showing, you could try to redo this and hide all of the conductor. If you don't, this may touch a grounded part, short, cause a fuse to blow. We don't want that. So make sure that that is not exposed here, or at the very least, insulate it with some electrical tape if that is your flavor. All right, we have this connection made. I'm going to plug it back into where I unplugged it from. I have my switched and fused connection plugged in. Now, when our ignition goes hot, this should be live with 12 volts. Find the blue wire from our signal, that is the running light wire. Get it out. I'm gonna plug in into our running light connection kit. Make sure that that bullet connector is seated all the way in. Once that happens, get the insulator cap over the connection. And as always, I don't trust these insulator caps 100%, so I am going to tape over it so that it is locked down. I am demonstrating this on one side of the bike, so that means I don't have the other side plugged in yet. I would work on this side, get it completely mounted and connected, and then do a test in which we power everything on and cycle through all the functions. Let's go ahead and test the functions. We have running light. It is less bright than the signaling function. And we have nice signaling function returning to running light. Good deal. So I will now button up the shroud area here. It'll be the reverse order of disassembly, and after that, we will take care of cable management. The trick to this is to tab in the front first, and then everything else pretty much just falls into position. And just make sure not to crimp the wires that you've just run. They can get caught in between. Once we have alignment and all the tabs are in, it's just a replacement of all of the push pins. You do have to reset them to this position. You get the button 6 to 7 millimeters out, and now it's ready for reinsertion. And then you press that button in, that locks it in place. Okay, all 10 back in position, good to go. Let's run through the cable management now. This cable and its protecting sleeve goes into this retainer, and then we have a retainer here for the connector. Now, before we do this, we do have this running light connection kit wire that is now loose. So what I'm going to do for its cable management is wrap it around this cable, and that'll keep that nicely for us. Plug this back in, get that situated back in its captive clips. Okay, that's nice. And now we just have all of this extra bulk here that we need to do something about. There is a good enough depth here behind this panel that we could stuff this into. I do like to bunch it up first and get it tied off. I recommend using a wire tie for this. I'm using our TST Industries reusable wire ties. If you don't have wire ties in your garage, you could pick a pack of these up with your purchase. Otherwise, any old wire tie will do. And then just shove it all down there, and that's good to go. Back on the right side here, I've done the similar thing where I've wound the running light connection wire around this cable. And now I have all the connections necessary for the right side lamp right in the same area. So the next phase in the installation would be to connect all of the right side components here and basically follow the same steps as we did on the left side. And that's just redundant.
There you have it. Just like that, this installation is now complete and you're ready to ride. I want to give a special thanks to Bart for guiding you through this installation process. As you can see, we were able to ditch those OEM signals for something more modern. We've really streamlined the look on the front end of this GSX-8R. We introduced a new function with our running light kit. And best of all, this was all plug and play and no modifications were needed. So if you like this product, you want to check it out, or any other product that we have for the GSX-8R, be sure to stop by our website, tstindustries.com. The link to this kit can be found in the description below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give us a thumbs up. Check in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. As always, don't forget to stop by our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all username TST Industries. For now, this has been Mark and Bart in the TST Garage, and we will catch you next time.